One of the easiest ways I know to put a smile on someone's face is with a card. So today I'm whipping up a batch of cards using some ephemera received in Happy Mail. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Livie's Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel. And I'm your host, Fam the Fabulous. For more ideas, inspiration, swaps, and challenges, click the link in the description below to join our craft community, the Maker Exchange, on Facebook. So, a while back, I received in some Happy Mail this beautiful set of clusters and ephemera pieces from my good friend Alicia over Baking and Crafting Meats. And now these are handmade. This is her own design using some of her own papers, and I think she might have did a scan and cut or something like that. Now she added some tags in there with some pretty little ribbons. Now there was something to hold them onto a card, and so it was on there for a while, so some of the tag tore off a little bit, but trust me, it will still get used because it's still very much so cute. And so I love the fact that I have some basically ready-made ephemera pieces that I can use that I actually like. I love a good black and white mix, especially when we got a little bit of metallic thrown in to the mix. Now, I also received some butterflies and dragonflies from another crafty friend, and that came via Happy Mail. So I'm going to see if I can try and use these. Now, I will tell you, I don't have dies. These butterfly dies, I don't think I have any butterfly dies as of when I'm recording, or the dragonfly. But so of course I love them and I'm gonna use them. Now it's been a while since I received them and I have been waiting for the right project, but I got to get out of that because I'm gonna turn into a hoarder and all of this beautiful stuff will go to waste, if I don't put it to good use. So here I am. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some papers out and some scrap pieces and see what I can use. So I'm just going to pull out some scrap papers from previous projects that I keep in that little zip bag. And then I also have a paper pad, a small paper pad that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I think it was sometime last year when I was working on some Mother's Day projects. And I love the rose gold foiling accents throughout this paper pad. That's the reason why I bought it. And I figured it would go good with these cards. Now, I will not, I will spare you the boredom of having to watch me audition my pieces. I'm going to try and speed right on through that or cut it on out. But you guys got a chance to see the papers, and that's what matters, right? Now, you guys have heard me say this a number of times, and I'm going to continue to remind you. Over at Dollar General, they have this set of card blanks and envelopes for about $1. I usually buy 2 or 3 at a time because I usually make cards in batches. And so it's not the size is not large. I think it's, what is it, 5 by, or is it 6 by 5? I'm not really sure what the measurements are, but you go check them out. For $1, you can't beat it, and it's a decent sized card. Now here, I'm just trying to check and see which of these papers will work best with these clusters. And so this is the point where we're going to go on ahead and, speed it up a bit, because I don't think you guys want to see all of that, right? So now that I have checked out virtually every sheet in that book, I guess it's time that I can go ahead and start cutting them down to size to fit the card blanks. Now, I will let you know, I personally like there to be a frame around the cover of the card, the front of the card. So I'm just going to cut it down, just doing a quick little measure with the card. I'm cutting it down so that there's a 1/8 of an inch border all around. And so I just use one card, measure it, and then I kind of eyeball it from there. It's not an exact science. Sometimes it's trial and error, but it works for me. Do what works best for you. Now, while y'all are sitting here watching me cut these sheets, I want to add that one of the reasons I enjoy making cards is because I don't always have time to sit down and do mixed media art. Sometimes I don't have the energy to pull out all of my paints and all of the scrap papers and the inks and the things that I like to use when I'm doing some form of art journaling or canvas art or whatever it is that I do. I also like to sew. Those type of projects, they're not a 45-minute project. I guess you can do it in bite-sized chunks, obviously, as I've stated before. But card making is one of those things where, if you take a few minutes to prep, you can whip out a batch of cards in less than an hour. Just depending on what your aesthetic is, how far you want to go with it, you can create art, giftable art, in less than an hour. And so, being a paper crafter and a paper lover, this is definitely a medium, an art form, if you will, that I truly do enjoy. And not only that, but knowing that a piece of my art is going to end up in someone's home, even if it just sits on their desk or their dresser or their table for a few days, just knowing that it's brightening up someone's environment, it's brightening up someone's spirit, that brings me great joy. So that being said, I just encourage you to, do a 5-10 minute prep and set aside an hour to create giftable art when you can. All right. Now, this little scrap here, I have pulled out from, it was pre-made, it was a pocket, essentially. But I can use it on a card. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on it, add it to the front, and then decorate around it. Now, another thing I'll tell you is I don't always have the full game plan together when I sit down. I don't have all the elements. I don't have all the ephemera and the embellishments. Sometimes I just have to play it by ear. So while I prep, pulling out certain papers, or I have a concept that I want to go with, or a theme for the set of cards, I may not have everything at my, on the ready when I sit down. Some of that I just have to see where the card leads me, what else is needed, and then I go from there. So while I'm set aside an hour, in that hour I already know 15 minutes needs to be reserved for rummaging, because there's plenty of rummaging that I do to create this art. Now, something else I'd like to add is there's also a good amount of time that I use for auditioning. So, once I pull out those papers and I have an idea of its composition, because sometimes it's not just one sheet of paper, sometimes it's a collage of papers. Once I've gotten that on top of the base, or I have an idea of what's going on the base, then I go ahead and audition my ephemera. So that's the focal points, whether that's words, images, or whatever have you. I go ahead and I begin to audition. Sometimes I do it for all of the cards at once. Other times I do it card by card, knowing that I'll have in hopes that I have enough for all of the cards that I intend to make. So again, you need a little time for rummaging, you need a little time for auditioning, and you need a little time to determine what you're going to finish it off with, and that's your embellishments, whether it's sprays, rhinestones, pearls, stitching, paint, pearl drops. You get the picture, right? So once I've decided I'm going to use the butterflies for this particular card, I know that I don't want them to lay flat, so here comes the foam tape. Of course, that's from Dollar Tree. You guys have seen me haul that a number of times. Now you can do that for all of your elements, or you can use that for one just to pop it up. But the intention is to create dimension on your cards, which adds a little bit of visible interest. It also allows for last minute layering, and by last minute layering, I mean if you're, for instance, with this butterfly, because I'm only putting so much foam on the back, if I wanted to slide a banner or some wording up underneath it and create a layered look, I still have time and have the space to do that because it's popped up and there's space underneath that I can obviously slide something gingerly up underneath it. So these are the things that I think about when I am creating, not just cards, but other forms of, if you will, mixed media. So now we are pulling out this beautiful dragonfly. Now I like the fact that the print, I believe, is something like a newsprint. So it has a little bit of texture, and the contrast, I think, is good for the metallic background, the metallic stripe background. So you have two different prints and colors that, in my opinion, of course, complement one another. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the front of this card and move right along. So I have pulled out this beautiful layered ephemera cluster that was created and sent to me by Felicia of Where Baking and Crafting Meets, and I love the light pastel colors that she has coupled with the foil print paper in the back. Now, decisions. I'm trying to figure out, should I use the love for this background or do I want to use always? And I think always is a good fit because the background is it's gray, it's polka dot, I believe, and while it does have a very subtle background, it doesn't take away from the actual interest of the focal point. Now I have this dragonfly here, but I think it's a little too big and it competes with the sentiment. So I'm just going to opt out of that, put that little baby off to the side and move along. Now, because this cluster is layered, it already has some dimension. And so I'm going to add some glue to the back, but you'll see me shortly thereafter add a little bit of foam tape to a couple of the areas, simply because they are a little bit more raised and I wanted them to remain raised and not lay flat against the card. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue on, and you'll see me fidget for a second and then grab the scissors and the foam tape. And this is what I mean by making decisions on the fly. You come in with one thought and you leave and finish with another. So I've added this little scrap piece of rose gold foil, rose gold, and I think it's peach color. And it's a good complement to the focal point. Now, I didn't want to put it on both sides. I just wanted to add a little something extra to the card, not overpowering or competing with the focal point, but just complementing it. All right, guys, we are in the home stretch of the card making session, and I'm going to go ahead and use this final sentiment that Felicia made, and it's a beautiful word sentiment layered on top of a banner flag, a couple of them actually, and a beautifully dimensioned rosette. Now, I'm just going to add a little scrap off to the side, and you'll see me attempt to audition, some of the ephemera that's laying on my desk. But in the end, I think that she, the focal point, doesn't require much, and she should remain, again, the main attraction. So this little strip off to the side, and I'll add a few little sprigs of butterfly die cuts, and that should wrap that up. Now, for those of you who are still here, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today, and I have a simple request. If you'll kindly hit that thumbs up button, you will help to ensure that this video and videos like this reach viewers, artists, and creatives just like you, and that will make my heart happy. And for my creative family who have been subscribers since day one up until yesterday, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to share with you my creative endeavors, and for your patience in between the uploads, and for your encouraging words, feedback, and for sharing me in your creative spaces. And if you're not a current subscriber, now's a great time to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell, so that every time I sit down to put together a batch of cards, you will be notified and can come and hang out again. Maybe get a little inspiration for your next card making session, right? All right, beautiful people, until we are back here together on Patreon and YouTube, stay encouraged, stay blessed, stay creative, and crafting. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe to join the crafty community, and be sure to click the bell for notifications of new uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Now stay tuned for more from Livie's Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel. Bye for now.